WZR Radio starts now. You can call into the show at 724-444-7444. You can call ID 30273 pound. So I can check myself again and I've been moving to a man but sheltered. Now, here's your hosts, Ryan Clark and Jose Rivera.
Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the March 3rd, 2009 edition of WZR Radio here on WZROnline.com and a host of other websites. I'm, as always, Ryan Clark, and we're going to be here with you, as always, for the next 2 hours talking pro wrestling. Monday Night Raw from last night. We got WrestleMania 25, just a few short weeks away, and some news and rumors and all that other good stuff as well. But before we get to all of that, straight from, where was it, Puerto Rico, I believe, Jose Rivera was crack-a-lagging, baby doll.
Nothing much, man. Trying to recover, coming back from 90-degree weather to 20-degree weather and a bunch of snow. So, but feeling good, though. Feeling a little bit more awake after I downed that large coffee.
We talked earlier today. Your flight didn't come back. Well, you got delayed because they had that major storm here on the East Coast. They had like a nor'easter come up, dumped a lot of snow on New York up here. We got about 8 inches, and I know you guys got some more over there by Stanford. So you got delayed and you came back this morning. So not a lot of sleep, huh?
Nah, not a lot of sleep. Originally, I was supposed to come back. I like to normally take red-eye flights because then I can just fall asleep, and, you know, by the time I wake up, pretty much the flight is over. But they canceled our flight Sunday morning and flew in at Monday morning. Left there, San Juan, about 3 o'clock this morning. Got into New York about 7 o'clock this morning, so about 12 hours ago.
This man got into New York at 7 o'clock this morning, about 12 hours ago, like he just said, came home, and the first thing he did was put his telephone on the charger, and we're good to go, huh?
Right. Hopefully we don't have that miserable cell phone connection ever, and I mean ever again.
They already say it in the chat room. You sound much better, so that's good news. You guys can get to the live chat room at WZROnline.com/chat. Lots of people in there already tonight. The phone number to call us up live is 724-444-7444. Call ID number is 30273, followed by the pound key. You'll be put inside a queue, and we'll take your call in the order that it is received. We're going to take a lot of calls tonight because, to be honest with you, it's been busy, man. It's been real busy, and it always gets busy leading into WrestleMania. And we're about, 5 weeks away from Mania. What is it, 4 or 5?
I think it's 4. We're counting down. Well, you figure 30 days from today, not 30, 32 days.
32 days. Yeah. So we're about 4 weeks of TV away from WrestleMania. So it gets busy, man, and especially when we're about 2 weeks out. With all the media articles that'll be coming out of Texas where they do interviews with all the guys really hyping the pay-per-view. So it's going to get real busy around here in the next couple of weeks. And it's been real busy today and yesterday, which is why I didn't really have time to do a detailed show file with all the news. But I did one. You have it here. It's got the Raw results and the WrestleMania card as it stands now. So we're going to talk about that. And we were going to have a debate, WWE versus TNA, but they didn't watch Impact, guys. So
I was in Paradise, so it's you either choose Paradise or TNA, and come on now.
Yeah, right. That's
But I do have it on TiVo, and I do plan on seeing it sometime in the next 48 hours if I I get a chance to. I just finished watching Raw not too long ago, so that kind of gives you an idea.
It was last week's show was okay. There was one segment they had Don West got up off the announce book and he's like, you know what, Mike, tonight you're nothing but a prick. You're nothing but an absolute prick, and you can take this mic and stick it up your ass. And Don West.
I'm not a big Don West. I mean, I like Mike Tenay. I mean, I've liked Mike Tenay since his.
No, Mike's great. Yeah, Mike's great. He's real. I mean, he's knowledgeable. You know who he reminds me of? A striker. Just because, he goes out there and you can tell he studies. Before he goes out there, you can tell that he looks up stuff and he knows that, and that adds to the announce combo. You know what I mean? When that stuff comes out, Stryker looks great every week on ECW when he brings up these arena facts and world title facts and win-loss stats and stuff like that. And Tenay kind of does that. Not as much as Stryker, but he does it on Impact. But nonetheless, they did a big angle, Don West and Mike Tenay. That was their big angle last week, so I'm sure you'll see it.
It sounds to me that they're really taking a lot from the WCW writing books. I'm not sure if they found maybe an old script somewhere in one of the boxes, but I would have sworn there was an angle back in the WCW days.
Well, Vince, you got Russo over there. Russo's one of the main. He is the main booker. Him and Jarrett are over there. So you got Russo there. So I'm sure that. It's Russo. Russo's got the same mindset for wrestling, with those WWE, WCW
takeover and unexpected happenings, but having.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to give him. Since the main event Mafia, this main event Frontline thing. The past 2 weeks they've drawn 1.3 ratings.
They're definitely pulling in some extra viewers, and truthful, the episode that I saw, I think was 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of good stuff that I saw on there that again, it was almost, and it's funny because I got an email from someone stating that it's kind of sad that I don't know the wrestlers, and I'll throw myself under the bus in 2 seconds, some of the TNA talent, and it's true. That is absolutely true. I don't have full knowledge of TNA talent, but that will change eventually. But more importantly, of course, just more of a.
The thing about it is, I was going to tell you, if we had our debate this week, I was going to bring it up. I like to see the smaller promotions succeed. I like
Absolutely.
I like to see the Ring of Honors. I went down to Ring of Honor show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and it was one of the best shows that I've ever attended. And I'd love to see that on TV, but there's this niche of fans that are stuck on WWE, and they will not. They won't give any other product a shot, whether it's Ring of Honor, whether it's TNA. They are stuck on WWE because. I guess because that's where the names are. That's where the Triple H's and the Undertakers.
It's a house brand. You have 2 television sets, and you have a no-name brand, and then you have a Sharp or a Sony, and it's a household brand that's been around for almost ever. And I completely agree with you. I'm more of a pro WWE, but that's just because I grew in that product, but. For that to be successful, you need the Ring of Honors, you need the TNAs to be extremely, extremely successful.
Of course. It's like the people in the chat room, like some of these guys that I'm looking at in the chat room right now. I won't bring them. To say TNA sucks, TNA's garbage, the whole show is terrible. You guys can't say that about the entire show. If you guys watched that 2-hour show on Thursday night, there's no way that you could tell me that there wasn't one good segment or one good match that you saw on that show. There's no way that you can say that TNA just completely sucks as a whole. To say that, you're not even giving the product a chance. There's going to be things that entertain you, and there's going to be things that don't entertain you. And the same goes for when you guys watch Raw, when you watch SmackDown, when you watch ECW. There's things that are just that are over the top, corny. And then there's stuff like the Jericho promo last night on Raw, which was off the hook, or the Triple H and Randy Orton thing they did on Raw last night, which was great. So I think the people that say TNA sucks and they don't give the product a chance at all. And I think if you guys, if you sat down and watched it week after week, there's some big names over there, and don't think, I don't think they're doing that bad of a job. But maybe that's just because I like to see
something.
I like a lot of the guys in TNA. You know what I mean? I like the AJ Styles, and I used to love the Petey Williams, and even Jimmy Rave was a great talent as well. But I mean, all those guys that I just mentioned are gone. There's still guys over there, in the X division that have made names for themselves. I think the Knockouts division over there is good to watch. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like to see the Ring of Honors, like I said, and the TNA succeed. But nonetheless, we're going to debate that, man. So make sure you check out Impact. You got a T-vote, right?
Yep. I actually sent, when I spoke to you earlier and told you that I didn't really get a chance to see it, I actually did have a season ticket for TiVo, and I do have this past Thursday's episode. But I will absolutely watch it this Thursday, and I'm going to make it religiously and try to watch it before the show comes on the air. I mean, just because you're right. I mean, I was never a big WCW fan, but I switched from back and forth when WCW has some really cool, awesome stuff on TV, and I'm a fan of TV. I'm a fan of wrestling, and if there's something that's coming out there that's appealing to me, I don't care if it's TNA, I don't care if it's WWE or any other organizations out there, it's going to appeal to me, and I'm going to go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, definitely do that so we can come back and debate it, because I watch TNA every Thursday night, and by the time that 2-hour show is over, by the time that ends at 11 o'clock, I'm impressed. I'm happy. I watched what I feel is a good wrestling show every Thursday night for 2 hours, and that's just, maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's just because I like to see the smaller guys succeed. I like to see that 1.3 rating. I'd like to see it get bumped to a 1.4, you know what I mean? I like that kind of stuff. So give Impact a try. Like you said, you got a T-vote, and then watch it again this Thursday night. Spike TV, 9 to 11 Eastern Time. And no, they don't pay me to say that. What else? Let's do some plugs here. Get this out of the way, and then we'll get into Monday Night Raw from last night. That was you watched it. Great show, right?
It was good. It was overall good. There was a couple of angles, that I just they simply go back to it every single time, and I'm talking about assault and arrested and bring out the cops.
Oh, dude, I hated that. Well, the first part, the thing I hated, I didn't like the fact that Randy Orton came out and then, challenged Edge for the title, at WrestleMania. And then it was all right, and then Triple H comes out, and all of a sudden, Randy Orton changes his mind. Triple H talks a little smack, and Randy Orton, I don't know, I just didn't like the way it was done. But nonetheless, we'll get to that. We'll get to that here in just a minute when we run down Monday Night Raw. You guys can check out the official website of WZR Radio at WZROnline.com. We got lots of news up there, lots of other good stuff. WZROnline.com. Change your bookmarks, guys. Bookmark us. Get it done, WZROnline.com. We have no TNA Impact tapings tonight. They were taped last Monday and Tuesday. And, man, I know they were taped last Monday and Tuesday because the amount of text messages that I got from a fan that was in attendance, man, oh, man. There was 116 text messages sent on Monday night last week. And then on Tuesday night, right, he held them. I didn't tell you guys this because it's been a week, but on Tuesday night, he typed all these text messages up, okay, and they were all separate. And he didn't send them until I went off the air. And then at about 9:15, all of a sudden, the phone went beep, 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 beep. He sent 50 text messages, and they all came in a row. So he had them all saved up and then just sent them all out at one time, and they just kept coming and coming. And that was immediately after we went off the air last week. So, whatever. We're going to do it next week, too. He's going to, like I said, we don't have any Impact tapings tonight, but next week he's going to be there, and he's going to send the Impact spoilers my way again, hopefully, as one, as a whole. You know what I mean? Not separate.
Rather than getting about 50 or 60 text messages. Then again, you may feel a little bit more important. You make better friends that are like, damn, why are you calling me? Fall back.
Yeah, right? What else, man? So no Impact tapings. And then we got SmackDown tonight. We have a double SmackDown taping. I think they're at the Mohegan Sun. that right?
Oh, that's right, man. You
were supposed to be there. That's right. You were going to go to that, right?
I was gonna try to, and then obviously staying an extra day, that threw a monkey wrench, and until you just mentioned it, now I completely forgot that they were Mohegan. So.
Yeah, they're doing a double SmackDown taping there tonight. So we'll have live spoilers up, not on this show, because we might have some. We may have some before we go off the air, and if we do, we'll be sure to give them to you. But it's a double SmackDown taping tonight, being taped probably right now, probably starting around right now, because they're out on the East Coast. So they start around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So we'll see what we can do before we go off the air. If we get anything, we'll give it to you here live, baby, live on WZR Radio. What else, man? You went on the trip, so you had a good time. My weekend was, wasn't that good. We got pounded with that snowstorm yesterday and Sunday night, so that kind of sucked. Like I said, we got about 8 inches up here. It's time for, actually, you know what? We have to, this weekend, this Saturday night, we set the clocks forward. You have to do that.
Is it really?
Days, yeah, so the days are going to
get... They did it, they're doing it early again, or they changed it last year, I think. Now you do it, 4 weeks early or something like that? And 4 weeks late?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I know it's Saturday night. You guys got to set your clocks forward 1 hour. So don't forget to do that, because you'll be late for us next week. But what else? So I'm going to look at an apartment tomorrow, man. Actually, for you guys that are diehard fans, I said that I was going to move down to Florida, but I'm actually going to look at an apartment tomorrow to see if I can avoid that, because I'd like to stay up here for just a little bit longer, and then if I had to, I would eventually go down to Florida. But I'm going to look at an apartment tomorrow. It's a lot cheaper than the place to live at now, so that's good. We'll see how it goes tomorrow, and maybe by next week, maybe I'll have a new apartment and a new setup and a new place to do this thing from. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Oh my God, are you a boxing fan?
I find it occasionally, not too much, but occasionally when I flip the channels around, if I see something that's pretty good.
Dude, we had Juan Manuel Marquez versus Juan Diaz boxing on Saturday night. It was for free on HBO. Fight of the year, dude. I mean, do you know Gotti Ward? Have you ever heard of Gotti Ward in
I've
boxing?
heard of him.
Where they just go out there and they beat the shit out of each other. I mean, these guys went out for 11 rounds, and then it ended in a knockout. But man, for 11 rounds, it was brutal to watch. I mean, I was just watching. We were all yelling here. We had a couple buddies over, and that was amazing. One of the best boxing fights that I've ever seen in my life. So if you they might replay that this weekend on HBO. So if you got
HBO is definitely good for re-airing fights.
Yeah,
3 or 4 times throughout the entire month. Usually around the 2 or 3 o'clock a.m. hour. But if you have the TiVos of the world, or any other recorder, you can certainly record it or go online and look for it that way.
The TiVos of the world, man. That's what I got to get, the TiVo, man, because I always miss stuff.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, dude, check this out. You ready for this? If you guys get HBO, if you get HBO, there's this new show on, right? It's called Eastbound and Down, all right? I'm telling you, if you guys are into comedy and you want to see one of the best shows, it's made by Will Ferrell. He's the
used car salesman guy, right?
Yeah, dude, the used car sales. Oh, it's awesome, dude. You got to check it out. They aired the 3rd episode on Sunday night. It airs Sunday nights at 10:30, but it's on HBO on demand. So if you get that, you guys can go in there and check it out at any point. But Eastbound and Down, it is the most hilarious sitcom that I've ever seen, ever. I mean, it is. I sat there on Saturday night. I've never laughed so hard. I watched the first one and then I watched the second one. Unbelievable, man. Just hilarious. So Eastbound and Down, you guys, man, check it out. Check it out if you get HBO. That's all I can say. And if you don't, you're missing out on a great comedy. What else? Oh, comedy. You ready for this? Jimmy Fallon started last night in place of Conan O'Brien. Listen, all right. I'll give him a chance. All right. I'm not gonna say that this isn't gonna work out just yet. I love the setup. I love the band. The Roots are his house band. Love everything. But Jimmy Fallon, the stand-up, like the opening monologue that he did last night, beyond brutal to watch. And then the interview, he had Robert De Niro on there, and then he had Justin Timberlake, and he was nervous. That's the best way to put it. You could tell he was nervous. I mean, if the crowd didn't react to one of his jokes in the opening monologue, he wouldn't know what to do. He'd just kind of stand there like, okay. Whereas if it was Conan, he'd be like, all right, that joke sucked. You know what I mean? He'd acknowledge that Conan's the man. But Jimmy Fallon, I don't know. We'll see. He took over for Conan. We'll see what he does tonight.
Actually, he's actually pretty good when he was doing Saturday Night Live. That's when I first obviously called him, and I didn't catch the show. I actually read a couple of things. I get this daily television report every morning, and looking at it this afternoon, and then they were definitely saying that he was definitely you can see some nervousness, and it's his first show. Yeah, he'll definitely get comfortable in that position. But
I hope so. I'd like to see it work. I love the setup that they had last night. It looks cool. It was different, but then he did the opening monologue, and then he did the interviews with De Niro and Timberlake, and it fell apart. But we'll see how it does, man. Let's not shit all over him just yet. You know what I mean? Let's give him a couple weeks and see if he can, patch things up and make it flow. Just make it flow.
Is Conan now taking over Leno's spot, and then Leno's coming in earlier?
Exactly. Conan's taking over Leno, and then Leno goes 10 to 11, leading you guys into your local late news every week. He's going to do a show every week. It's going to be a weekly thing. So we'll see. Late night TV. I'm always up late, man. I never pass out till about 2:30 in the morning, and so I'm always awake to see that stuff. So Jimmy Fallon, I'll give him a shot. We'll see how it goes. One last thing, guys, before we get into Monday Night Raw. Feedback. You guys sent a lot of feedback last week, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. It means the world, because we do the show, and I always ask you guys for feedback. Always want to know what you guys want to see, what you guys want us to do, what should we do different, what should we not do, this and that. And a bunch of you guys sent feedback to my email last week, so I want to thank you guys for that. And want to encourage you guys to send in feedback again tonight at webmaster@prowrestlingscoops.com, and then I'll forward those emails to Jose. I also do a feedback post after we go off the air here, and that has Jose's email in it as well, so you guys can email him. But webmaster@prowrestlingscoops.com. Submit feedback, guys. It's awesome when I get to hear what you guys think of the show. And I'll always respond to you. If you guys send me an email and it comes to my inbox, you'll always get some sort of response from me. Just give me a couple days because usually there's a bunch of them. But nonetheless, webmaster@prowrestlingscoops.com. So submit feedback. Anything else, Jose? That's it, man. Right?
Not much, man. That's it. Let's definitely talk about the number one cable show on TV, Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, right. Number one. They're always sending out press releases. Right? I mean, I'm sure you won't see one this week because the Monday Night Raw rating just came in. For those of you guys that haven't seen it yet, it is a 3.8, which is down 0.3 of a point from last week. 4.1. Actually, the last 2 weeks, it's been a 4.1. So it went down to a 3.8 this week, and that was one of the better shows. So I was kind of surprised by that. Did you see that, Jose?
Actually, I haven't. I'm still playing catch up, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, coming off the pay-per-view, you look at the show from yesterday and compared to last week's, and then the following weeks, you have Edge becoming champion, so the spike of rating happens that following pay-per-view. Then people want to see what happens the following week. And then you just kind of fall, not flat, I don't want to say flat, but you kind of, you become accustomed to what you see, and then a lot of people, I'm not sure 24 was awesome last night. I'm not saying that affected the rating. But
24? 24? What's 24?
Keith Sutherland's Fox show. You don't know 24? Come on, man.
I've heard of it. Is it good?
Oh God, I live religiously on that show. The show is awesome.
No, what kind of show? No, what kind of show is it? 24. Give me a break. Is it a comedy?
No, it's an action. You know, Keith Sutherland. He's Jack Bauer protecting the president and all this terrorists. Some of the storyline is a little ridiculous. Like yesterday's episode, they invaded the White House and took the president hostage, and it's like, okay, come on, that's not really going to happen. But it's a show. But 24 is definitely my second show.
So it does good ratings, right?
Oh, it does. It pulls in about a 7.9, between a 7.9 and 8.4.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
No doubt. I didn't know it was that high. That's crazy. I know American Idol and that kind of stuff over on Fox does huge ratings too, man. It's crazy. When I look at the Nielsen stuff, when I log in, man, some of the ratings for some of the Fox shows are just off the hook, man. And then you see why when they do like Saturday night's a bad night for TV anyway. Everybody's out and ratings are way down on Saturdays. But when they do the Saturday night's main events and they draw like 2.1 ratings or 1.9 or something crazy like that, and NBC's heated, because NBC is used to these mega ratings like 6.0s and above, you know what I mean? But of course, that's your main three networks anyway. I mean, people that don't even have cable TV are able to get, the CBS, ABC, and NBC. Not for long though. I think they're taking away the analog TV signal, but nonetheless. So that's why they get, huge ratings every week. But that's crazy.
It's unbelievable. It's just the number of people that are watching those type of shows, and if you really look at the demographic, obviously they're young people, young viewers that are. I mean, it would be awesome if Raw was pulling those type of numbers, or TNA, or any other wrestling program for that matters, because it just means a greater audience, which in return, greater audience for us and our website. That's the reason why I like the TNAs of the world, and because if they build and continue building to be a stronger user base, then they pick up old, wrestling fans or new wrestling fans, and in return, it kind of comes down to us.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm just looking at some of the people in the chat here. A lot of 24 fans. No doubt,
Man. Catch 24. 24. If you have not catched it, you need to catch it. Sign it online. Do whatever you can do, because it's a hot show.
All right, guys, like I just said, guys in the chat room, they love 24. You can get to the chat room at WZROnline.com /chat. Lots and lots of people in there tonight, and we're going to take your live phone calls here in just a little bit as well. We'll probably take some in hour number one. So I'll give out the number again, and you guys can call up now and in just a couple minutes here as we run down Raw. If you guys have a question about Raw, give me a call right now, and we'll take your calls now while we run it down. 724-444-7444. Once again, 724-444-7444. And the call ID number is 30273, followed by the pound key. So Raw questions only right now, and if you got another question, call up in hour number two. I'll give the number out in just a little bit. Monday Night Raw from last night, Jose. What do we got? We opened things up. We had Jerry the King Lawler was in the ring, and he announced that Vicky Guerrero has told him to make a big announcement, that being that John Cena would get his rematch for the World Heavyweight title against Edge later that night on Raw last night. So our main event of Raw was Edge versus John Cena for the world title. Jose, I got to ask you, man. Not when they announced the match, but as the match was ongoing, did you think, man, and be honest with me, because I thought it could happen, did you think maybe a title change here?
No. It's once I heard the match announced, and first of all, it's funny when Jerry Lawler says it's his biggest announcement ever in his career with Monday Night Raw. It's like you forget all the other historical stuff that went down, but like anything that deals with the Divas, it doesn't surprise me. It wasn't surprising that Cena didn't win the title. It would have surprised me, I think, a little bit more if he did. just because I think what they're trying to do with John Cena is build suspense on what he's going to end up doing at WrestleMania. And not only that, but you really consider his media rounds that he's going to have to do promoting his show in, 3 weeks, will take him away from doing some of the house shows and some of those normal wrestling appearances that he is accustomed to as being a champion. I think that has to do a little factor into there as well.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with Cena and WrestleMania.
Don't be surprised at triple threat if Cena is thrown into the mix with. I just don't really see an Edge versus a Big Show as a match at WrestleMania. I have to see John Cena somewhere in the middle of that angle.
Yeah, and there's these rumors that say that like Hulk Hogan versus John Cena. That those rumors. I mean, I can't confirm or deny them, but the angle that makes the most sense would be to put Cena in a triple threat match with the Big Show and Edge. You'd have Cena over on SmackDown for the next few weeks. He was over there. He'll be there this Friday again. They're taping it tonight. He was there last Friday, and it looks like, I mean, what would make most sense would be to put him in a triple threat match. You've got Jericho beating all these legends, all right, week after week after week, and we've said this here on WZR Radio that each week they're going to bring in another legend. Jericho's going to tear him up, punch him in the face, lay him out, and then at the end, I still feel that the biggest legend of them all, which would be Hogan or Austin, and it doesn't look like Austin's going to work a match. Hogan is open to it as long as he gets the right money offer. Hogan right now is just basically playing the Hogan politics game, where he'll tell Vince, no, I'm not going to do it. And then Vince will think about it, and then Hogan will think, hey, maybe Vince is going to offer me some more money. If I say no to the first offer, if I say no to the second offer, Vince is going to keep increasing the money. And then at the end, when I feel I have got the most that I can possibly get out of Vince, hey, I'll take the offer. So, it would make the most sense to have Hogan come in and face Jericho at Mania for a match. And that's where I see things going. That's where I see this going. So the rumors were on Hogan Cena. It's not to say that it couldn't happen, but as far as current storylines, do you agree it would make the most sense to have Hogan come in and face Jericho?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It just makes no sense. And not only that, we're getting closer every week. Obviously, we get closer to WrestleMania. And
what is the point? What is the point of doing Cena Hogan?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It makes absolutely no point. I mean, I can see a Hogan Jericho. I mean, and if you notice, and again, each week we talk about the little things that we see WWE dropping. I'm seeing a lot more Hogan clips in the last 2 weeks. Either the WrestleMania Legends promo, or just showcase of WrestleMania.
Let me say this. I don't mean to cut you off, but Donald Long, 91 in the chat, has a great point. He says you do Hogan Jericho, and then you throw in, say, Steve Austin as the special guest referee, right? So you've got Hogan versus Jericho in the match. Jericho's been shitting all over these legends. Now you have two legends. One's the referee, one's in the match with you, right? And then you could do, shoot, man, well, they'd never do this. But if they had that, they could have they could have Austin come in and try to make the count and then screw Hogan, you know what I mean? And then you could do like a Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, yeah? No, but that'll never happen. I mean, it would make for an awesome storyline, you know what I mean? Austin special guest ref jumps in, screws Hogan out of the pin on Jericho, you know what I mean? It's possible, but
it definitely makes great television if both men are working the mic, but unfortunately it probably just won't go that far. And Vince always likes to emphasize on new stuff, and seeing a Hogan and an Austin match, I mean, it's just a wrestling fan's dream come true.
Yeah, but then Well, they're not going to do. They wouldn't do. First of all, I don't think they do. Hogan. I mean, if they were going to do Hogan versus Austin, they'd do it at WrestleMania. You know, it wouldn't be done. It wouldn't be done at Backlash, and they would have to start the angle there at. Not that they would do it anyway, because neither. I mean, Steve Austin. I don't think he's going to work one more match. I don't see it happening. You know, I mean, he's in some. I mean, they put a picture of. He looks good, man. He was. There's a video of him today up on TMZ.com. And the guy, man, the paparazzi that's asking him these questions, man, is...
pretty brutal.
Yeah, did you see it?
No, it's just the paparazzi are pretty brutal, period.
He's like, the guy's asking him stuff like, so Austin, what do you think about steroids in baseball? You should know about that, man. I mean, you're in the wrestling business. You know all about steroids, don't you? And Austin's like, I don't know, just some of the questions.
You should have just given the big old what?
Yeah, what? Well, he just kind of kept walking. Didn't really say much. But it's on TMZ.com. But Austin looks good, man. He looks fit and ready to go. But that's for a new movie role. JR had something in his blog a couple weeks back where he said Austin's in the gym every day, training out, not for Mania, but for a new movie role that's going to be upcoming. So that's the deal with Austin. But we'll see where they go with it, man. I think, you know, Hogan versus Jericho makes the most sense. Speaking of Jericho, we opened up Raw. We had Piper's Pit was set up on stage. That was cool. And then we had Piper's music. Lillian Garcia did the heel turn there. Did you hear that? She says, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Jericho." As Piper's music was playing, she got booed out of the building for that. Poor Lillian, man. You know, that had to be some sort of a joke, man. They messed with her. Remember when they went on the trip to Iraq and somebody dumped water on her face?
She gets a lot of stuff backstage, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
But all the announcers do. Same thing with Robert.
Referees, too.
Yeah, all those guys, they're all lined themselves up to get some sort of practical joke within their WWE career. But she's been there for a while, so.
Yeah, no doubt. What'd you think about the Jericho Snuka segment?
It went over well. I mean, you all knew what's going to happen when you saw a grocery bag laying on the floor and, you know, you thought the coconut one might happen. I mean, you all knew that something was going to happen, but it went out really well. You know, you brought in another Hall of Famer coming in, reminiscing, anything that you can include something from the past and show some video clips. It's always good to see they really emphasize a little bit more of the detail rather than just saying, oh, you know, here's Piper's Pit, here comes Snuka, well, he's going to get his coconut across, you know, he's going to get the coconut across his head again. What they did is they went a little bit more in depth and they brought some history into it. They showed clips of Piper, Snuka, wrestling, how that feud kind of came about. So for me in particular, it caught my attention quickly, especially on the start of the hour. I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but the first match didn't happen 22 minutes within the show. I mean, 22 minutes happened, Piper's Pit, promos, interviews, and then the actual match started, which again was like 22 minutes into the show.
Yeah, usually when they do the big openings, the big long promo openings, usually they go about 15, 20 minutes when they do the big segments like that. But I thought Jericho's mic work last night was phenomenal. I mean,
right. Yep.
Awesome. I mean, the back and forth, Snuka couldn't get a word in. Not that Snuka's not good on the mic anyways, but, you know, you knew it was going to happen. Like you said, when Snuka went down and did the pose, and he was posing there for just a little bit too long, and you knew Jericho was going to come out from behind the set, pushed it on him, knocked him down, and then smushed the banana all over his face, a la Roddy Piper back in the days when Snuka was on Piper's Pit. But that was cool to see, you know. I mean, it was a blast from the past.
It's just so funny because when they show the old clips and you see, kind of felt like a gymnasium that went down. You know, it had the WWF logo yellow in the background and high school bleachers all pulled in. You know, and then when you see more of the independent shows on TV, kind of has that same type of feeling. And I think that's probably one of the things that appeal to me when I'm watching an independent show on TV. Is just it kind of gives you that old school type of feeling, atmosphere when it comes to wrestling. so much of the entertainment aspect of it.
No doubt, no doubt. So, I mean, great opening segment, man. Monday Night Raw, I mean, like you said, went about 22 minutes, and then that led us into, we had Rey Mysterio, Mike Knox, and Kane. This is a Money in the Bank qualifying match. But I'll tell you what, I mean...
Don't tell me. Don't tell me Knox is growing on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Him and Kozlov, right? Both of them guys, man. But well, poor Ray. First of all, poor Ray. This poor guy. I talked about it a couple weeks ago, on WZR radio. I mean, they throw him in. This tiny guy. They throw him in with these big guys like Mike Knox and Kane. I mean, he never gets like a one-on-one with somebody that's his own size, you know what I mean? The guy is thrown in there with Mike Knox's and Kane, and is forced to somehow work a good match, you know what I mean? But I don't know. There's something that happens on ECW tonight. Turn your speakers down for a second if you guys don't want to be spoiled. Just take me a second to say this. They have a match between Mark Henry and Santino Marella tonight on ECW, and when you look at it, it would be almost an easy call to see, Santino makes sense, Santino in the ladder match, da-da-da-da-da. And then they have Mark Henry go over, right? So you've got Mark Henry in the match, and then you've got Kane, who won last night in the match, and then you've got CM Punk, who seems like a likely bet. The way I look at it is, all right, yeah, they're going to put 8 guys in there, right? So maybe they've put the 2 big guys in there. They put Mark Henry and they've put Kane in there, right? So you can do the spots. Like, they're going to pick their spots in the ladder match, and you'll have Kane and Mark Henry there for those spots during the match. Now, hopefully, the other 6 or the other 5, because we already have CM Punk. So hopefully the other 5 would be the Santino Marella types, or the John Morrison types, or the Miz types, or the Chavo Guerrero types. The guys that can go out there at WrestleMania and tear down the house in a ladder match. Kane and Mark Henry in a ladder match?
Kane for a huge guy. I mean, I've been always a fan of Kane. It's just his character and the way he plays his character is quiet but deadly. I don't see Kane doing a somersault off of a ladder, but for a big guy, he's really fragile and he moves around pretty quickly. I don't know how much.
I could see where they do spots where, like,
against Mark Henry.
I could see where they do spots where, like, Mark Henry would lift a guy up and put him on top of the ladder, or guys would come off the top of the ladder and land in a guy's, like, Mark Henry's arms or something like that, just for the big spots. But my hope would be that the other 5 guys that are in there besides CM Punk are, guys that can go out there and tear the house down and work a good ladder match at WrestleMania. Let's hope, they don't continue. I mean, how many big guys do they have? I don't think you're going to see Knox in the ladder match, but who knows? We'll see what they do with it. You've still got 5 other spots, so I can't really say much right now. But hopefully they've got the big guys in there, the 2 big guys that they need in Kane and Mark Henry, and we'll see who else they put in there. During that match on Raw, what happened? Ray hit a 619 on Kane. I remember that. And Knox came out of nowhere and leveled
Mysterio with his boot.
Yeah, leveled Rey Mysterio with a boot, and then Kane turned around and then chokeslammed Mike Knox for the win and the advancement to WrestleMania 25, the Money in the Bank ladder match. And then we had our standard weekly Raw Divas match. We had Mickie James and Kelly Kelly versus the team of Beth Phoenix and Jillian Hall. Boy, they really team Beth Phoenix and Jillian Hall in recent weeks. I mean, those two have been put together. Jillian just seems like she's the type of diva that's, they don't have anything for her, but they just throw her out there. I mean, she's a much better worker than say somebody like Kelly. I mean, Kelly's brutal. So, and granted, she tries. She goes to FCW during her off time, during the week she's down there training with those guys, and it takes time. But Jillian is a step above. So when you see a Divas match, I mean, Divas matches are your point during Raw that's kind of like, I don't know, blah, Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. I was actually reading some of the stuff in the chat room.
All right. No. It's diva matches are just, it's like the point during the show where, I don't know, the crowd goes dead and the diva, it's not the knockouts, the TNA knockouts go out there and bust ass every week, maybe that, I don't know. I'm a TNA fan, man, yeah.
I can see your point in matching those two, but I think in a wrestling fans, WWE divas are just that, divas. They're not
just a look for a
fabulous Mulas of the world in the past, to where, I remember, I think it was Molly Holly, and can't remember who else it was, but they had a hardcore match in the backstage. Two females having a hardcore match, slamming themselves in tables, and I think one picked up a mirror and smashed it across. I would see that more in a TNA. So if right now, rather than seeing it in the WWE. So I think the pretty girls are coming out there showing their stuff. I mean, Kelly hasn't vastly improved since the beginning of her career.
I agree.
In the WWE. Jillian, I like Jillian. I like how she comes out and she tries to sing, because it works the crowd. It's like, oh, come on, we don't want to hear that. And to me, that's a good way to really bring some heat to yourself.
Oh, dude, it's a perfect heel, man. JBL does the same thing. He comes out
exactly.
Jericho makes you hate them, just makes you want to reach through that TV screen and just choke them the F out. You know what I'm saying, dude?
I would like to see Jillian as a champion, as an upset champion. I can only imagine her mic skills every single week, her coming out, celebrating, being happy that she's a champion, rather than just putting it on a pretty face. And not saying that Melina is just a pretty face, because her wrestling skills is just unbelievable. I mean, she kind of reminds me of the old school wrestlers, like the Litas of the world, the Trish Stratus of the world, because you can just simply tell it. She will work her ass off to get over with the crowd and to sell the match. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize is you got to sell the match. And some of those divas do an awesome job, and just some of them are just like, you got to be kidding. Why are they on? Oh, okay, now I know why they're on, because they look pretty.
What about Maurice, man? What about Maurice on the announce booth last night? I mean, ridiculous. I mean, you could tell they were trying to feed her lines from the back. And she's the type of person that can't talk with someone else yelling in your ear. And don't get me wrong, that's tough to do, man. I try to do this radio show, and at times I have people yelling in my ear, and it's like, get out of here, man. It's tough. But Maurice on announcing last night was brutal to watch. It's what is she doing here? And it looks like they're going, I don't know, Melina versus Maurice at Mania.
I think that's what.
Not a Mania. Not a Mania.
I mean, it's you got to understand too. Is a woman's it's a title holder versus a title holder. So that right there has the prestige label of WrestleMania quality. I mean, I personally would like to see maybe a battle royal or maybe a battle royal.
Did they unify the title?
No, I don't think they. I don't think they will. I think there's enough divas to justify the two championships, unless they start making some cuts after WrestleMania, and then they may unify it there. But you've got your draft, so you could send. Well, no, that wouldn't work out either. Because I was going to say then one of them would have two titles when it was over, and then she'd have to lose. Yeah, I think it's probably just more of a champion versus champion, and I don't think titles.
See the champion. I thought until you brought that up, I thought that they were maybe going to do it on SmackDown. I thought they were going to have Melina go over there and face Maurice and get it over with. But now I didn't think about that. Champion versus champion would make sense at WrestleMania. But then you've got your other divas that they're going to try to put in WrestleMania as well. Maybe a battle royal and another what? That would be your 4 hours match.
Yeah, you have 4 hours to fill in, so it wouldn't surprise me if that would be, either the opener or maybe a follow-up after a big match to put the Battle Royal. But normally, and I don't quote me on this, and I'm sure the chat room can correct me, but I think mostly in big events, you only see one females match, and that's it. I don't think you'll see a Battle Royal and two other females fighting, either or.
Yeah, but there was talk, I mean, Trish, and you've got to get Beth Phoenix on there as well. You know, you've got to, some of these girls that are featured every week, Mickie James, you've got to get them on wrestlers. So I think, you know, Orton said he was going to challenge Edge for the world title. He said he wasn't going to challenge Triple H because Triple H was headed to jail, which got me nervous. You don't want them to rehash a storyline that's been done and failed miserably. So you don't want them to do that again. So nonetheless, Triple H came out, and he drops the sledgehammer. We had armed security guards at ringside last night, which was, ooh. But, so basically what happened was Triple H came out and changed his mind, basically said that, you know, back in the days of Evolution, Randy was just the little kid that always looked up to Triple H, and Triple H made him a star, and, you know, basically made Randy change his mind and say, all right, man, I'm going to face you now for the WWE title at WrestleMania. It was well done. The only, like, I don't know, Triple H, when he's like, at the very end, when he said something along the lines of, I broke your collarbone the last time, and this time I'm going to break your neck, you know, or something like that. You know, I don't know.
To me, honestly, and I a lot of my focus that I paid attention to the show was that segment, and the reason why is just because, you know, don't come out on a storyline that's been pretty hot. You know, the McMahon's out of the picture, H and Orton, wife. It became reality. It's like, whoa, you know, we all know it's all storyline related, but it's so reality. It's just like, damn, Orton or H, don't let that happen to your wife, you know, your kids, and blah, blah, blah. And then you come on and says, well, I'm going to get you arrested. I mean, come on. You know, what's this storyline now going towards 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds? You know, at first, exactly what you said earlier, explaining, at first you're going to go and face Edge. Now here comes Triple H calling you all these little names, and now I'm going to change my mind because you said this and you said that. I feel that writing there, that segment, was written for kids that are in elementary school and middle school that just have not full knowledge of reality based on what the storyline is really, truly about. And I think it kind of taken away from that. I think it said, wow, okay, you know, now you have these guys talking about wives last week, and now you're going to try to arrest them? I mean, come on. How many angles have we seen? Should Orton be arrested for kicking McMahon in the head? That's an assault. You know, or Shane in the head? That's an assault. And, you know, it's like you try to, you really, I would have rather loved to see some more reality based on it. You know, say something about Stephanie, how good, you know, she was going down and laying on her stomach. You know, something kind of like, whoa, dude, that's really wrong. You know, keep that reality-based storyline going. They just completely went the opposite direction, going with the storyline of getting arrested, saying no at first, changing his mind, and then exactly what you said, Triple H saying, I'm come on. You know, it just, I lost a little bit for that angle.
I mean, it was a good segment. You know, I mean, the segment itself, as a whole, I thought the promo work was done well, except for the end with Triple H. But as far as the angle is concerned, yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Just that segment, just how it came out. I mean, they're still going to throw the house down. There's no doubt about it. It's just those 3 points that I just made disturbs me. You know, that's the only thing that I can. I mean, itself, the whole angle still, it works for me. How Evolution came about, how you mentioned about Evolution, that works for me. It's just the really one that gets kind of get me going, and this is what we discussed, like about TNA coming up with some of their angles, and they're like, all right, come on, get Governor Palin, let's be real about this. Same thing with the WWE. Come on, you're going to get this guy arrested? I mean, you're writing this for whom? You know, for people that just, like, casually see the show and be like, oh, my God, Triple H is going to get arrested. Yeah, I'm going to read that on TMZ. I mean, those are the things that sometimes just it bothers me a lot when.
Yeah, but I mean, they cater. You got to remember they cater to kids too. I mean, we're a little bit older, you know. I mean, that's why when I see some of the corny stuff that they do, like I'm not all over the Triple H thing at the end there, you know. I mean, yeah, for an older guy, it was a little bit corny the way that he said it, but you know, for a younger kid, when they see stuff like that, you know, and that's your future, you know, that's your future generation, the kids that are going to grow up and that are going to watch the product, you know, when Vince is no longer around, when Stephanie and Triple H are running things. So, you know, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see where they go. We'll see where they go with Orton and Triple H. You know, like we said, we've got 4 weeks going into WrestleMania, but while they can really build this up, and I don't think they ruined it last night. You know, I think maybe it was a step down, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see where they go for it leading into WrestleMania. We got to go to the break here in about 3 minutes, and then we're definitely gonna take phone calls. I forgot the break was getting so close, and I just looked at the clock. We're only about 3 minutes away on the live show. Let's finish up Raw real quick. Shawn Michaels and Kozlov. Boy, Kozlov, man, he is horrible to watch, you know, and even Michaels was in there. And you can tell that he picks his spots, you know what I mean? Kozlov has, like, a 5-set series of moves, and he stands there, and he looks to each side to the right, you know, and so he doesn't have to do much. And the match is scripted like that. It's clearly scripted like that. But even with Michaels in there last night, it was just, I mean, if Shawn Michaels can't carry a match with this guy, I don't know that anybody can. You know what I mean? And yet they continue to push him. But nonetheless, the undefeated streak was ended last night by Shawn. And, you know, I thought it was kind of quick to do that. There was no
build up, but
no build up or anything. So you know, there's a possibility that maybe some faith has been lost in Kozlov. We'll see where they go with him over the next few weeks. But I thought that was done awfully fast with no build up, which oftentimes.
I agree. Not to cut you off because I know we're going to commercial, but I completely agree with you in that respect. But it brought more credibility for the main event of the Undertaker, since Undertaker's coming in with hasn't lost in WrestleMania.
That's true.
So I think that's probably, you're right though. I mean, I think it should have been a little bit more build up behind it, but I think since Kozlov has not been defeated before, this is his first time being defeated, it only really kind of, you know how WWE storylines go. If he wins against Kozlov, it only means that he's going to lose against The Undertaker, which is something that the storylines kind of work the way it works. But I agree, though. I see what you mean exactly. I think they kind of rush it. But I think that's probably the reason why, is just to say, look, he just defeated this dude and he was undefeated. That means at WrestleMania anything can happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we'll see where they go with Kozlov now. We'll see what his next program turns out to be. We'll see if they continue to push this guy, or if he kind of falls in the mix now that he's not undefeated. Jose, in our main event of Raw, we had Edge versus John Cena. The end of this came when Edge got the title, the referee took it away, then Edge snatched it back from the referee and hit Cena in the head with it, and was able to get, it ended on a DQ. So the winner was John Cena, but still champion Edge. So that was Raw. What did you think of the main event? I thought really good match. You know, I like Cena's work. I think Cena's done. You know, a lot of people shit all over Cena's work. You know, not big fans, but I think he's really come a long way from just a few years ago when he was first called up from developmental. So Cena Edge. Another great match. Good match to end Raw. I didn't like the no DQ finish, but and I wasn't. I expected there was a possibility of a title change. I'll put it like that. You know what I mean? Because they did it at No Way Out, right? And that was only a few weeks away from WrestleMania, 6 weeks away. So I figured if you were going to do a title switch, you would do it right now. I mean, you're not going to do it from this point to WrestleMania, but you're still 4 weeks out. So if you were going to do it, you had the opportunity to do it last night. So I expected, there was a possibility of a swerve, but it didn't happen, and it ended on the no DQ. Vicky Guerrero then came out and announced that at WrestleMania it would be the Big Show versus Edge for the title. Edge had a shocked look on his face, and like we said before, we'll talk about it when we come back from the break. We're going to talk about WrestleMania, the current card, when we come back from the break. Jose, you got anything else to add on that match before we go to break?
No, I mean, not really. Again, it was a great match between those two talent. It doesn't surprise me that it ended up in a DQ, and I think at the end of the day, we're going to see a triple threat match. He's going to be seen as definitely going to be somewhere in that title picture.
What do you think, man? Want to go out to the break? We'll play some Fray. The Fray. You know the Fray, right?
I've heard of him.
Good band, man. Good
music,
band.
yeah. Nice to relax.
Yeah, relaxing. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to pee, and then
that's good to know.
Fill my cup of water up, and then we'll come back for hour number 2 here, and take your live phone calls, talk about WrestleMania 25 coming up, and a bunch of other stuff. Maybe we'll give something away here in hour number 2 if people in the chat can convince me to do that. So we'll do it after this. You're listening to WZR Radio with Ryan Clark and Jose Rivera. We'll be back right after this. And we're back, WZR Radio 4, hour number 2, leading you guys into ECW at 9 o'clock, top of the hour. Jose, what's up, buddy? You here?
Number 2, or hour number 2.
Numero dos.
Numero dos.
I don't have a lot to talk about, man. I didn't do a show file. I got the updated WrestleMania 25 card, which we're going to talk about, and then I think we should just open this thing up to live phone calls all night. I don't see too many of them coming in right now. We have a ton of people in the chat room tonight. WZROnline.com /chat. Get on over there. If you guys want to call in, I'll give out the number here. It's 724-444-7444. Call ID number is 30273, followed by the pound key.
You know, something that just came to my mind. I know that we take calls and talk to people, but how about maybe taking questions online? Maybe you have.
What's wrong with your phone? Your phone's all messed up. You sound like you're away from the like you went too far away from it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, buddy. There he is. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say is maybe perhaps you're not only taking phone calls, but if people want to ask us questions on the chat room, maybe they can, shoot us a couple of questions if they don't want to pick up the phone and make a call.
Yeah, no doubt. Some people get nervous. We don't bite, man. I don't bite, Call up.
Yeah, people do get nervous, though. That is kind of funny that you said that. But
yeah, I know. They get nervous.
You're only live on the radio, and a couple of hundred people are listening. I mean, no pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Well, anyways, if you guys want to call up, like I just gave out the number 724-444-7444, and then the call ID number is 30273, followed by the pound key. Brian J. Morey from the chat room. You're live on WZR Radio. What's up, man?
Nothing much. What's going on there?
Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot. It's cold.
Very cold.
Yeah, we got a bunch of snow down here in Maryland too. But just got a first question. Just what do you think with Morrison and Miz losing? Do you think that they're going to do any kind of tag title match over in Mania?
It's possible. I had thought that they were going to put both the Miz and John Morrison in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but that's one match that we really haven't talked about. It's a good question. We're going to talk about WrestleMania now, but, we talked about a Divas title match, but not really a tag team match. They've never really been behind. In TNA, they're really behind the tag division, and they're starting to get back behind the X division here. But in WWE, the tag division has always been, I mean, Jim Ross has even noted this in blogs, that it's always been kind of on WWE's back burner, so to speak. You know what I mean? Something that, you know, it's there, but they never push it. You know, they never push the tag team titles like they really mean something, like they're prestigious. You know what I mean? They're just kind of there. So I'm not exactly sure that we'll see a tag title match on WrestleMania. We'll see where they go. Maybe they could do like a 6-man. The thing about WrestleMania is they like to get a lot of the roster on that pay-per-view, whether, like Jose said, it's a lumberjack match, or whether it's a battle royal, or whether it's a 8-man tag team match, you know what I mean, where you have 8 different teams, or 6 different teams, or 4 different teams. That way you could have 8 guys in the ring. If you had 4 teams, you'd have 8 guys that are getting that WrestleMania payoff. So they could do something like that. I don't know, Jose, have you heard anything tag match?
I haven't, and if you notice the last 3 weeks, while they write their shows, they haven't really emphasized a lot on the tag team titles. I would be surprised if they do not include either or SmackDown or Raw's. But I can't even. Who's SmackDown's tag team champion?
I think it's Carlito and Primo, right? Carlito and Primo, I believe they are the tag team champions. So
I mean that goes to show you right there that it's hard to remember who are the champions. And realistically, it would be nice if they have like a 4-way dance where Carlito and Primo and Miz and Morrison, and then throw in a SmackDown tag team and a Raw tag team, and kind of just. I think that's the title that they should unify. I think that's the only title that they should unify, because just there's not much emphasis on tag team in WWE. And again, that's where we talked about the TNA is. That's some of the things that I like about TNA, about the knockouts, knocking themselves out, and using the terminology knockout, or emphasizing on things that the WWE does not emphasize, like the tag team division. Something
different, no doubt. But I mean, to answer your question, Brian, about a tag team title match at WrestleMania, like Jose said, they really haven't emphasized it, in recent weeks, and it's kind of like on the back burner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got anything else, man?
Just another little question about with the Money in the Bank. Like, who do you think are the next kind of top contenders to get into that match? Because, I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of a waste to put in Mark Henry and Kane in there. Like, you could put in, like, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston or something, but who do you guys think will be the other 5 slots in that match?
Oh, thanks for the question, man. I appreciate the call, no doubt. We kind of talked about that in hour number 1, where I said that, Kane and Mark Henry, guys that are in there that, just for the big spots, just for those big spots. And then, like I said, I would hope that the other 5 guys, CM Punk is already in there, but the other 5 guys that are going to be added to that match, I would hope that it's like a Miz, Morrison, Chavo, Santino, guys like that could really work a ladder match. So, I agree with you on that. It's just I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, you're gonna have your CM Punks, and I believe at least either the Miz or Morrison, one of those guys is going to be in there. So, I don't know. We'll see where they go with it. They're going to do qualifying matches over the next few weeks, but I think you've got your 2 big guys in there, in Mark Henry and Kane, for right now. And I don't know if they're gonna go more than that, because those guys, like I said, are going to be used for your planned spots. You know what I mean? Where guys will come off the ladder and land into Mark Henry's arms, stuff like that. We talked about it in hour number 1. But we'll see where they go with it. We have a caller from, where's this? North Central Texas. You're live on WZR Radio. What's on your mind?
I have a few questions, actually.
Sure. Where in Texas you from?
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth, no doubt. You going to WrestleMania down there?
I'll be there. I'll be there for the whole WrestleMania weekend, actually.
Very good. Send us some live coverage, man, for the website.
Yeah, we definitely will. Me and my friend have a little podcast we're trying to do right now, but that's not really something I'm called to talk about. I actually have a prediction for Money in the Bank. I think if Ted DiBiase Jr. is in there, I think he's going to win it.
That's another one, like Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr., guys like that, no doubt. And that's a great comment, man, with Ted DiBiase, a guy that he has the look of reminds me of Randy Orton before he really took off and got big. He's got that same look that Randy has, and he's shown that he's got it. On the mic, the limited times that he's been given the mic, he's ran with it. So that's a good play, no doubt.
He's been in the business his whole life. So he has a lot of people to help him, coach him, and I think he was, if you remember back a few months ago, he was in that Intercontinental Battle Royal, and he was the last one in there. If it wasn't for William Regal, he probably would have won that.
Yeah, it's a really good possibility. We'll see. We'll have to see over the next couple of weeks if they put him in a Money in the Bank qualifier. But somebody like him, or if they wanted to do something with Christian, they could have Little Wayne in the chat says, Little Wayne's playing in the chat says, you could put Christian in there, and then that's a renewed push for him. But I really don't think Vince sees. No,
I don't think so either.
Real big potential in Christian. He's
been there before, so he's not.
Yeah.
I think they give it to more young up and coming. They gave it to Kennedy.
Yeah.
They gave it to Punk. They gave it to Edge.
Yep. Up and coming. Ted DiBiase, to be honest with you, would make the most sense. But we'll have to wait and see. Whoever gets it, is pretty much guaranteed a world title run, because they noted it on Raw last night as well, where they said that everybody that's won the Money in the Bank match has then gone on to win a title. So it looks like they're going to continue that. So whoever wins it, looks to be in line for a big push. And Ted DiBiase is a very good possibility, man. Good comment.
Okay, I have one more question now.
Sure.
How do you feel about John Cena and Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania?
We talked about that earlier. I don't see the point. To be honest with you, I see Hogan in a much better, it makes more sense to put him in a feud with Jericho right now, as the guy is just killing these legends week after week, so it makes sense to have the biggest legend of them all, Hogan would come in and then they would end it there. I don't see the point in John Cena versus Hulk Hogan. I would say that Cena will be put into a triple threat match over there on SmackDown with Edge and the Big Show, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Callie, what's up, man?
What's happening? Listen, I didn't hear.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's all good. What's on your mind, man?
Yeah, I didn't hear none of your show. I just got home, so you might have already talked about this. But I forgot my question already. Ain't that a
bitch?
I know. I should begin my question. I had two questions. What is the first? I can ask the second one. Okay, I remember now. Now it's kind of actually always called asking questions about ratings. I was looking at a Raw last night, and it was kind of showing or some other stuff like Stone Cold, I think, or The Rock, or something. How the old times, how they made it, and I was thinking about how they made it. And Stone Cold said, "I just whipped your ass," when he beat, I think, Jake the Snake Roberts, and The Rock was cracking jokes and la 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 la. What could they do to get another wrestler out like them two, or to what people want to see, rather than Shawn Michaels or Triple H?
They try to do it with John Cena. They try to have Cena act like The Rock. I see it all the time. Where Cena, like Cena will be next to Todd Grisham in the back. Do you see that, Jose?
He does a little funny faces and stuff like that. But it's amazing because it has to come from a talent. So it's not even so much of WWE producing a talent like The Rock or Stone Cold. It just has to become natural, because if it's not natural, it comes off like you're really trying hard to imitate those two talents. They got to stay away from the attitude guy, like Stone Cold, or the movie guy, like The Rock. They need to create more compelling characters that are more appealing to the end user and more believable. So this way, it comes all smooth, and you're like, oh yeah, John Cena, yeah, he's smooth because he knows what to say, he knows the face expressions, you know how to discuss it, and not only that, but more importantly, he knows how to sell the match. The Rock knows how to sell a match.
Yeah,
Stone Cold knows how to sell a match. You get the 2 count, this match is over, and he lifts up his shoulder like almost immediately before he touches the referee touches the mat for 3.
I mean, basically, they just have they call it the it factor in WWE. You just have it. You know what I mean? Whether you're in the ring and a guy that I believe has it, and the only thing that holds him back is his size, and that's a guy like Christian. A guy like Christian who's awesome on the mic. Who could go on a mic with no script at all and could cut a promo. Same thing goes for Bubba Ray of Team 3D over in TNA. Guys that can get on the mic and go with it. They can just go and make it work. That comes naturally. That's something that you just can't. You either have it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember when originally ECW, rest in peace, Candido, when they were getting paid, I think the last pay-per-view when they were beating everybody up, and Bubba Ray said, he said something to the camera. He said, what you just seen is something, because we are the 8-time, tag team champions of the world, baby. But he kind of, after he did his little, whatever, he was beating somebody up and the whole 9.
Yeah.
So, actually, 2 more questions now. The Rock, how he's trying to be an actor. I don't think he's an actor at all, to me. Why, if Vince puts you, he knows he has the power to put anybody on, make him a big-time star. And the only reason you're doing movies is because of Vince McMahon. So if he calls you and says, hey, Rock, why don't you make an appearance at WrestleMania, should you say yes, sir, or not argue with him?
Let me say this. There's a lot of resentment in WWE over that same issue, where it's like this, man. It's like The Rock is a good guy, all right? I mean, he's a great guy in real life, just a real likable guy, really, really likable guy. So no one will really go up to him and say it to his face, but there are people in WWE who feel, hey, wait a second, this guy won't even come back and acknowledge the fans that put him where he is today in Hollywood. There's a lot of resentment. But then you need to look at it from the Rock side, where in Hollywood they really, really look down on pro wrestling. Okay, so if he were to come back, even to make a one-time appearance, to be in the headlines, The Rock makes return to pro wrestling. He either has to do one or the other, because Hollywood, they do not like wrestling. They do not like pro wrestling, so you either have to be, and I think that's part of the reason Austin doesn't want to do a match at Mania, is because he's going into this Hollywood thing. These guys, when they leave, they go into Hollywood, and Hollywood frowns upon pro. I can't tell you how much they hate pro wrestling.
It's not even so much of that, honestly. Is they get stereotyped. The only roles that they'll be able to play are wrestling theme roles, or bodyguards, or enemies that are C-budget films. But just to add more to that, I spoke to an executive actually from the WWE a while ago, and it's not so much that The Rock does not want to come back. It's not so much that he wants to show his appreciation to the fans. It's just the reality is he has an extremely busy schedule, and his busy schedule normally happens in the first 3 or 4 months of the year.
Yeah, but Rock has come out in media interviews and said that he wouldn't return to wrestling.
Right. But the translation to that is not saying that he doesn't care about his fans. Because I personally don't take it that way. I just take it as that the man is extremely busy, and there's still that anger. There's still that anger with Vince of not renewing or even discussing about his termination of his contract. It just died, and that's it. And then the WWE was blaming interns and internal people on the situation, rather than being up front and center saying, yeah, you know what, you used us to become a celebrity, but, would you rather get paid $4 to $10 million a film, or get paid $1.2 million base salary, and then hopefully your merchandise, succeeds, and then on top of that, injuries occur at the same time. And if you're injured, you're not making money because you're not producing, you're not selling merchandising. So,
well, look at Mickey Rourke at WrestleMania. I mean, that's a classic example. I mean, Hollywood hates pro wrestling. I mean,
it's not so much that they hate pro wrestling; it's just they get stereotyped. I don't think it's like, in Mickey's defense, defense, is he's going up for a prestigious award. Obviously, he didn't get it, but that's just how Hollywood is. They don't want to be looked at as stereotyped as just a wrestler. I mean, that's just how people are. It's just they get stereotyped.
They get stereotyped as a pro wrestler, but when you say that, I mean, that's Hollywood saying, "Oh, you're a pro wrestler." So that's Hollywood basically saying, "We don't like pro wrestling," and that's that's what I'm trying. If they're stereotyped for being a pro wrestler, then if they want to go to Hollywood, that's basically saying you can't be a pro wrestler or we're not going to take you in Hollywood.
I don't think that's the reason why The Rock is not showing up on a WrestleMania card.
Well,
I just think it's just more the resentment of what happened in the past with his contract and his schedule. I mean, yeah, granted, he says that he's not going to be wrestling, but he's not saying I'm not coming back to wrestling because I just don't like it anymore. He's gone past it. He's graduated from it. I mean, that's how he's seeing it as.
Okay. But then, if he's graduated from it, the question was, why doesn't he come back? Why doesn't he come back and say to these people, "Hey, thanks"? And you say that it's just because of his busy schedule?
I don't think he's coming. I don't see it. I don't translate it as him saying the hell with the fans, because it has to do with the fact of his situation with his contract with the WWE, and that's the major factor is what happened. That was ugly. It was really ugly, and it really upset him. I mean, you got to look at it as a guy that grew up in the industry, and then you don't get a phone call from your father wishing you happy birthday on a special day. Just use that as an example. But I mean, what you're saying is there's truth to it. I'm not saying that, what you're saying is completely baloney. I mean, there's truth to it. You're absolutely right. These wrestlers get stereotyped in Hollywood, but the reality is The Rock is a perfect example of someone stepping from the wrestling world getting into Hollywood. And again, it's all about the money. At the end of the day, you're getting paid $7 to $10 million a film. You'll be lucky you make that in 1 year.
Let me ask you this: The Rock's been gone from wrestling for years now, right? Years. Now there's 300. I know the man's got a busy schedule, right? But there's 365 days in a year, and you're telling me, I mean, they would accept. I am sure that they have tried to get him to come in for a one-time appearance. He did the Hall of Fame thing.
Last year, Hall of Fame, exactly.
Yeah, he came and did that. But I mean, as far as I mean, he was there in the Hall of Fame to be inducted. As far as coming back and acknowledging the fans on a Raw or on a SmackDown or on a weekly televised show. There is no excuse why this guy, well, there is an excuse because he's, like you said, he's stereotyped in Hollywood. But there's, I mean, I feel both ways. I feel both ways because I know how Hollywood feels about wrestling, and I know how they feel, I know how wrestlers get stereotyped in Hollywood. So it's either do I go and make movies or do I come back? I mean, we could argue, we could debate this all day, you know what I mean? But I feel that for a company that made The Rock who he was, there is no excuse why he hasn't made 1 or 2 or 3 appearances a year, similar to what Steve Austin does. Steve Austin will come in, he'll come out on Raw, maybe he'll do an angle, maybe he'll give somebody a stunner here and there, and Steve's still making movies. Steve's out there doing movies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're different roles. I mean, now you're looking at a wrestler that has moved away from it. I mean, he did the first 3 years when he retired or went to Hollywood. He made his Raw appearances. He made, I can't, this feels great. You move on.
He did,
and then to me, I'm not taking nothing personal. I have no personal grudges with the guy. If the guy doesn't want to show up on Raw, he doesn't want to show up on Raw. It doesn't make me change my mind thinking that he's neglecting us. I don't feel that way. He simply moved on, and then.
For a guy who was made on Raw, right? And then he goes to Hollywood, right? And then he goes out to Hollywood, and then just as of a couple years ago, right? He did an interview, and he backtracks on this now. He did an interview where he stated, "I no longer want to be called The Rock. I want to be called Dwayne Johnson." Okay, and that was a couple years ago. And now he just did an interview a couple weeks ago or last week or something where he says, I tried to change that. I tried to get rid of The Rock, and people are just they're gonna call me The Rock, so it's not worth even trying to change. But for a guy that goes out and says, I want to get rid of The Rock name, I want to go Dwayne Johnson. I mean, that is a guy that strictly wants to go to Hollywood, wants nothing to do with pro wrestling. That's just my feeling. A guy that doesn't want anything.
They asked him, and I know what interview you're talking about. What they asked him was, "Are you still known as The Rock?" And his response was, "I'm promoting myself and marketing myself as Dwayne Johnson, as who he is."
Yeah.
But he still goes by. People still come up, and that's fine. But for marketing purposes, you got to understand, too, is The Rock is owned by the WWE. They just gave him a lifetime license for it. So they're still the WWE still owns the brand, the marketing brand.
If they still own it, right? And everybody looks at this guy when his photo's up on a TMZ.
He said he called you earlier today.
Huh?
The message. Did you get it?
Oh, your phone went bug-eyed again.
I don't know what the heck was that.
That was weird.
You got another caller on the line that he didn't hang up or something?
Maybe it was. Maybe it was a caller, man. I don't know. Maybe it was echoing. But no. What were you? What was it? I just had a great point that I was going to bring up.
We're saying about The Rock and intellectual property that the WWE owns.
Oh, intellectual, yeah, and where he said, honestly, we could go back and forth all day on the Rock. I think he could have done. He still can do more for the wrestling fans, a group of fans that built it. And when you look on TMZ.com or you look on just celebrity gossip websites, and you see a picture of him, what's the first thing that comes? Hey, that's The Rock. That's The Rock. You're not saying, hey, that's Dwayne Johnson.
The Rock. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Dwayne Johnson just sounds stupid.
Well, where did he get that? Where did he get that name?
He got it in wrestling.
In wrestling. So then go back and give something back to the fans. If you got your start, you know what I'm saying? Go back.
But he's just not going to continue going back to it. He came back to it for the first 3 years, and then, he hasn't appeared on wrestling. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would be the first one to mark out if I hear his theme music even start on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, no doubt.
It would be awesome. I would love to see that. I would love to see it. But then at the same time, I'm not going to fry the guy because he wants to go to Hollywood and make an identity on himself, on Dwayne Johnson, and not so much of The Rock. And I don't consider him forgetting that, what got him there in the first place was pro wrestling. Because at the end of the day, what got him there was himself. He's the one that played the rock and roll. He's the one that worked the mic. He's the one that made the appearance. He's the one that sold the matches. The WWE just gave him the opportunity to do it.
If The Rock got to where he was today, which we agree upon, he got to where he is today with WWE, I don't see any excuse why that he can't come back in like a Steve Austin role. Now, I'm not saying week to week. I'm saying once or twice a year, 1, 2, 3 times a year. We could come, make a cameo, cut a brief promo in the ring, something. But nothing at all. Oh man, I think
I think any wrestler that in his caliber and his position would do the same thing. I think if they blow up in Hollywood, they would do the same thing. They simply have to. They'll just simply move on. I mean, who was it? Not Khali. Forgot.
Nathan Jones tried it. Nathan Jones.
But I'm thinking of the other gentleman that came into WWE simply and he even said it. I just wanted wrestling to be a stepping stone into the movie business, but that didn't work out because he got fired. I can't think of it at the top of my head.
Somebody, if you guys in the chat room know who Jose is talking about, let us know. That was a good debate, Jose. That was good, man. I like that. I like debates, man. I like when I can get into it with you here. You know what I mean? It makes for good radio, baby. It makes for good radio. People in the chat say this is good radio, so that's always a good thing. Hey, let's see if we can't change the subject a little bit. We have. Who do we have? We have a caller from North Georgia, is it? I think. Caller, you're live on WZR Radio. What's on your mind? Georgia? North Georgia.
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 Going right now, Georgia.
Isn't there a theme out of Georgia, John?
No one was there, even the
Oh, there it goes again.
There you go. Screw it. Hey, we have WWE fan Kiddo from the chat room. You're live on WZR Radio. You're on WZR Online. He hung up on me. The dude hung up on me. Got nervous, man. Got nervous. Let's take another one. Let's take a guest. Guest number 128 from the chat room. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, I have one question. I was just wondering, where do you think they're going to go with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker? Because I don't know if they should have Shawn Michaels break the streak or if they should have The Undertaker keep his streak until maybe he retires or something.
Shawn's not going to be the one that ends Taker's streak at Mania. Taker's he's going to be around for at least another year. After this, this isn't going to be his big retirement at WrestleMania this year. I know, Jose, you don't believe that streak's ever going to end, and I gotta kind of agree with that. I don't think it'll ever end. I think he goes out on top, undefeated at WrestleMania, and if he does lose, it'll be to a younger talent, somebody that he can help put over on his way out. But no, I don't see Shawn. I mean, they've got a storyline going now where Shawn Michaels ended Kozlov's streak. So is Shawn Michaels also going to end the Undertaker streak? They could do something like that. But I don't expect that to happen. You don't either, right, Jose?
I truly doubt that's going to happen. The man has done so much in this business, and I think the best thing that you can make him happy when he retires is for that. There's two wrestlers that have always been prestigious to their promotion, and those two wrestlers is The Undertaker and Sting.
Kennedy 16 from the live chat room. You're on WZR Radio. What's on your mind?
I just want to know if you think Shawn Michaels should get one more world title run.
World title run before it's over? Yeah, it's a possibility. Shawn looks good these days, The guys working house shows. They actually had house shows here, one in Poughkeepsie, one in Glens Falls. I didn't go this weekend. Good thing I didn't either, because Triple H, the one I went to was up at Glens Falls, and they announced at the beginning of the show that Triple H and Edge weren't going to be there. The main event was Jeff Hardy versus Kozlov or something like that. Or maybe Chad Hardy. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. So I didn't go up there, and it's a good thing I didn't. I read some reports online, and I didn't miss anything. But as far as Shawn Michaels, the guy, he worked down in Poughkeepsie in a mixed tag team match. It was Shawn Michaels and CM Punk versus somebody down there. So, the guy's working house shows. He's in good shape, and another title run is not out of the realm of possibility. That's for sure. When it'll happen, I think. Huh?
I was going to say I don't think he will. I think he knows his position with the company where he'll be there to work those big name matches
and to put over younger guys.
Exactly. I mean, him a title, I would be shocked. It would be nice, because I'm a big fan of Shawn Michaels and the work that he does in the ring. Because there's one man that sells matches, it's him. But I don't really think that a title is he doesn't need one. You really think about it.
Yeah, well, he really doesn't need one, but it'd be a name. For all, he's been in the business for years and years and years. So to put him out, to give him one last. I mean, it's not a. I mean, like I said, it's not out of the realm of possibility that it could happen. But you know, Sean's in good shape. You know, he's going to be around for, you know, probably another few years, and then we'll see where they go with him, man. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not out of the. It's possible. We'll have to wait and see. But I mean, right now we got to focus on Taker and Sean at Mania and Taker's streak. I mean, like we said, we don't believe Taker's streak is going to end anytime soon. Let's take another phone call here. Guest number 225 from the live chat room. You're live on WZR Radio. What's on your mind?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh yes, man. So, what do you think about the matches at WrestleMania? Is WrestleMania going to suck, or is it going to be the big impact of the year?
Well, WrestleMania, you know, it doesn't suck yet. They have, we haven't really talked about the cards. We have, I guess we could run it down here, Jose. The 4 matches that are confirmed or that were confirmed last night. You know, Triple H versus Randy Orton. It's a pretty big match. You know, I'm happy with that. Edge versus Big Show. I'm not thrilled about that. I'll let you comment on all these too, Jose. I'm going to run them down top to bottom, and then you comment. I mean, Triple H Orton, yeah. I mean, it depends. You know, the storyline in the next few weeks, how they build this thing up. I mean, it's pretty personal right now with the McMahon thing. Randy takes out Triple H's whole family. You know what I mean? So we'll see where they go with that. Edge versus Big Show. Maybe throw Cena in there. You could make it into something, you know, triple threat match. I love the Money in the Bank ladder match concept on a yearly basis. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, I mean, those 2 guys at WrestleMania, 2 guys that are going to go out there and work their asses off, you know, to put on a great match. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, you know, I mean, those 2 guys are, you know, both great in-ring competitors, and to have them matched up against you. I mean, it's not one of the biggest WrestleManias ever, but the matches aren't terribly bad. You know, Jose, I mean, what do you think? Triple H Orton, Edge, Big Show, CM Punk, Money in the Ladder match, or Money in the Bank ladder match? What do you think, man?
I mean, it's interesting so far, what we see. It doesn't have, this year, it's not so much that this is not the biggest WrestleMania, since this actually is the 25th anniversary, but I think as creative is being really, really selective, and not only that, but McMahon is being really, really selective on the matches that are being produced, just because of the leaks. You know, there's a lot of leaks that go on in the business, and especially for this 25th anniversary, I don't think they're really emphasizing a lot on the angles prior towards the event, like a month or 2, only because of that. And obviously, we have the Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. That's going to be an awesome match. I mean, Jeff Hardy obviously is going to carry more of the match than Matt Hardy. Then you have the ladder, the Money in the Bank, which is always an amusing. I mean, you know, you throw in hopefully Kofi, maybe DiBiase, maybe some of the SmackDown guys. There's Shelton there. You know, so that's going to be a fun-filled match. Exactly, triple threat. I think that might happen. Throw Cena in there because I don't really see a Big Show versus Edge because it's just not going to bring out Edge's performance. If you throw in a Cena, then, you know, Big Show gets thrown over the top, and then them 2 can kind of fight it out for a little bit. And then, of course, and Triple H, you have that personal animosity between those 2, and at the end of the day, I think those 2 will really, really, really tear down the house.
Let me ask you this. Does Triple H put Orton over at Mania?
I think so.
I think he's got to. I think because they have pushed him to the moon, you know, taking out all the McMahons. And then the match with Triple H, he goes on and he defeats Triple H, huh? Yeah?
I think so, and then the draft will really kind of set what we're going to see at SummerSlam, because usually that's how it works. It's usually the main event at SummerSlam, then you got your normal program during the summer, and then you have like a grudge match or some sort of revenge match, you know, Orton versus Triple H in a steel cage or an anything goes or something spectacular to kind of round up the program within the whole entire summer.
Instant classic from the chat room. You're live on WZR Radio. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just got two questions for you, Ryan.
Sure.
The first one is,
Now, I know Christian's not in very good graces with Vince McMahon, but where do you think they're going with the storyline with him now being pinned 2 weeks in a row? And do you think maybe the Battle Royal at WrestleMania is something for the ECW title, and maybe Finlay wins, so that way Swagger and Christian can both be drafted somewhere else? Or maybe
you know what I was thinking is to talk about a Battle Royal with ECW. They look at ECW as like just a development lightweight. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, the lightweights. I wouldn't be surprised if like they threw that on WWE.com. They would put maybe a title match up there on W. They did it last year. Can't remember. I think it was a Battle Royal that they had up on WWE.com. So don't forget about that. You're also going to have a match on WWE.com, and they like to do something big on WWE.com prior to WrestleMania. And ECW is just looked at, like Jose said, lightweights, developmental, whatever. It's kind of like whatever. As far as Christian losing back to back, man. I mean, yeah, we've documented it, here on WZR Radio that, Vince just doesn't have faith in Christian, and to see, I mean, it's sad to see a guy come from TNA who was at the top of his game and comes to WWE and is just jobbed out, and that's what I feared several months ago, that this guy. I mean, we've still got the draft. We've got the Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, if they want to push this guy, they still have the opportunity to do so. Whether
I'm sorry, guy.
No, I'm just going to say whether they do that or not remains to be seen.
I was going to say, I think, with being 4 hours, I think we will see a Christian versus a Swagger at WrestleMania. And I think Christian will win the title. I just simply, I mean, I all the stories that I hear.
Do you really think Christian's going to win the ECW title?
I would be surprised if he doesn't, and then he gets drafted, and then it goes back to Swagger. So this way, I hear these stories about McMahon hating Christian. I mean, I know how the storyline works. I know how the action is. I don't think the guy really hates him in that respect. Obviously, Christian wouldn't have signed a contract with the WWE if he felt uncomfortable working for them. I think the reality is that Christian knows his spot. He knows where he stands as of this moment, and he's going to get that chance. Perfect example, Jeff Hardy. Remember Jeff, he used to job just about every single week when he first started, and then he gradually started building himself up, and now a former champion. I mean, you're going to tell me when Jeff Hardy first started WWE that you were going to say, oh, yeah, that's a future champion right there? Hells no. No, maybe Intercontinental.
To go for a TNA champion, for Christian Cage, who is a TNA champion, who was one of the main...
McMahon doesn't see TNA as, to him, there's no existence of TNA in some sort of respect. You know what I mean?
Doubt.
So,
no
and it's bad to look that way, and I think that's
I'm talking Christian. I mean, I know McMahon doesn't see TNA as anything, but from Christian's standpoint, as a guy, I mean, what must he be thinking as a guy that was a main eventer over in TNA, and then to go over to WWE? It's for him.
He's going to have to pay his due again. He's going to have to pay his due. His due is going to be, if he signed a 2 or 3 year contract, he's going to have time. He's not going to be put on a high pedestal so quick. He's going to unfortunately have to take his bumps and his bruises. Yeah, he lost 2 weeks in a row, but think about it. Swagger did too, and he was undefeated, at that time, and then he lose 2 weeks in a row. Each of those guys are going to take their bumps in the road. It's not going to be given to them immediately. He's not going to throw him into the mix anymore with the Hardys storyline. So that right there should give you an indication that he's going to take hits, and he's going to take them now. And then hopefully gradually he gets drafted, then we see him. I like to see it that way, because then what other suspense would you get from him? You already know he's going to be, in SmackDown eventually. It's like I'd rather have him go through ECW, go through his bumps and bruises, and then he gets drafted to ECW, then you get a little bit more excited.
Pay his dues, though, man. He paid his dues. All right, he paid his dues, right? Back in the day when he was with WWE, and he was continued to be jobbed out week after week after week, right? Then he goes to TNA, becomes the main eventer. Now he comes back to WWE to what? Pay his dues again for another 10 years and
well,
still not get a title?
He might. Hey, listen, if you get paid $2 million, if you get paid 6 figures, all right, 7 figures from the WWE, I'll job every single week. I can care less. You show me a fat paycheck, but that's what you got to think, though. That's what you have to.
That's true. No,
that's what you got to sit there and say to yourself, you know? It's like every week I hear someone saying something about Christian, about McMahon doesn't like him. McMahon doesn't like him. If McMahon doesn't like him, he would not pay him a fat check.
It's not like Christian needs that fat check. I mean, the guy is well off financially. You know, he's saved up over the years. He's got a wife who's a model. He's got money saved up. He's got a house down in Florida. You know, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like he's gonna get lost in the shuffle, and yeah, he's gonna pay his dues, but I think he's gonna pay his dues at that mid-card level, and I think he's gonna be stuck at that mid-card level. Sure, he's getting a paycheck, no doubt about it, but does he really? You know, I mean, this is a guy that was, you know, he was up in the air whether he was going to re-sign with TNA or WWE. Probably hoped, you know, he would sign with WWE. They had a major angle going on. I'm sure that they told him he was going to be a part of that angle prior to when he signed. Plans changed, plans got leaked, and now the guy gets screwed. So I feel, I mean, I would be interested to see how Christian feels right now. And this is a guy.
It would be interesting to sit down and have a cup of coffee with him and just. But I think, honestly, I really feel that he would just go based on he knows his place. You know, if he signed a 2-year contract, his time will come. His moment will come. You know, I don't think he's just going to be there stuck at a mid-card level, you know, fighting in ECW for the next 2 years. He will get drafted to Raw or to SmackDown, and he will shine at the time when it's appropriate. Right now, it's not. Right now, his moment is not right now. Right now, the moment is for the Hardys. Right now, the moment is for the Swaggers, who have been with the company continuously for the last few years, not a guy that left because, I mean, granted, I mean, by all means, if I was in Christian's shoes, I probably would have gone to TNA as well, you know, just to get away from it, to get away from all that drama or politics backstage and go somewhere else that's a little bit more cleaner, more relaxed. But the reality is, contract was over, more money was being put on the table, and the reality is you have a much, much larger fan base.
Well, yeah, it's a much larger. I'm a fan of Christian, man. I'm a fan of Christian, and to see him get jobbed out, to see him get...
I completely agree with you.
It is tough. It pains me to watch because I'm a fan of TNA, and I see this guy coming from a main event storyline. And then I see him as the guy that's going to come in. He's going to be a part of a major angle in WWE. Bang! They pull the plug on this guy, and now he is on ECW. Hey, if he wins the ECW title, so what? It's the ECW title. You know what I mean? I mean,
hey, CM Punk was a former champion on ECW. And look where he's at now.
Yeah, CM Punk. All right. I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. Let's see. We're gonna have this conversation in. All right, we'll do it in another 6 months, and we'll see where Christian's at then. And we're
Mark
gonna do
my word. His moment will come. His moment will come. Mark my word.
We're going to do it in another year, and then we're going to do it 5 years from now on WZR Radio, and we'll see. we'll see if this guy's still paying his dues. You know what I mean, brother? I'm a fan of Christian, so you know what I mean. It does kill me to see him in the position that he's at. But if they do give him a run and they do give him a title shot, maybe like you said, Jeff Hardy was jobbing the guys, you know. So maybe
how funny would it be in ladders in the Money in the Bank? He's part of the thing, and he wins. Then we'll see exactly what the situation is.
Then I will say, Jose, you know, man, you got me, dude. You got me, man.
He will get his. He will get
all
his.
All right. So you're just telling me, wait, Clark, just wait. See where it goes, man. See where it goes.
Christian fans all around the world, be patient.
Be patient. Christian fans, Jose says, Christian fans all around the world, like myself, be patient, and eventually we will see this guy in a main event role. And once he pays his dues. No.
History speaks for itself, and I'm basing everything on history. And history of Jeff Hardy's of the world, the Matt Hardys of the world. Those guys took a lot, even Triple H's of the world, you think about it. Obviously he's not going to get to that level, but, they all pay their dues. And unfortunately for Christian, he left, and he's not going to get that pedestal quickly, especially above Swagger, who's gone through his little, work on getting back onto the roster and among other wrestlers who have been there for a while.
Jose, I got to tell you, man, with the Rock debate and the Christian debate, this has been a fun show, man. I know we gotta wrap this thing up now because it's getting close to 9:00. We got to take a lot of live phone calls tonight. Lots of people in the chat room.
We gotta give them a shout out. We didn't do our shout outs for the chat room today.
That's right. Let's do some, man. Who you got? Run a few down, and then I'll do some.
Well, unfortunately my screen is stuck, but I see Priceless up there, 72. Liz, of course, Lil Wayne, my boy, taking care of Wrestle Community. Ryan, again, I can't see anyone else because my screen is actually locked up.
Here, let me see what you got. TNA Wrestling 12, Swanton 33, WWE Fan Kiddo, Ryan Danson there, Rated Y2J. Chris Riddle is in there. I believe it's his first time here tonight, which is cool to see. Priceless 72. That's me, 789. Jericho 133 is in there. Who else? I'm just taking the people that are typing right now. Yes, Jesse Boyer, a lot of guests in there. All you guys that are guests, go register your username for me for next week. All you got to do is register it once, and then you're all set. Lil Wayne 20's in there. He's in there every week. Brink's in there. We haven't seen him in a while. Combs Gillespie is in there. Lizzie is in there. Lots of people. All you guys that come to the chat room every single week. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are here religiously on Tuesday nights, every single Tuesday, 7 to 9 Eastern Time. Where, Jose?
WZR Radio.
All right, buddy. We got ECW coming up in a couple minutes. We got to get these people out of here so they can go check that out, and then we'll see them again next Tuesday night, man. Let's wrap this thing up with some plugs. My website's www.prowrestlingscoops.com. The inside scoop on pro wrestling. Lots of news, rumors up there. WrestlingAnswer.com. Lots of women galleries. Talked about Kristen's model wife. Pictures of her up there, the WrestlingAnswer.com. Then my TNA website for all you TNA fans, just TNA news, no WWE news. It's all TNA. It's TNAWrestlingNews.com. One more, Jose. My MMA website is MMAscoops.com for all your MMA and UFC needs. Jose's got a couple sites, and he's going to let you know about them right now.
With over 369 members, WrestleCommunity.com. It's the social network for wrestling fans. It's the one and only wrestling community that's out there right now. www.WrestleCommunity.com is just like the MySpaces of the world, Facebook. Again, it's all about wrestling, social network. There's YouTube. There's games, actually flash games that you can play on right now. Invite your friends. It's free. There's no charge whatsoever, and it's again 369 members right now and growing strong.
Hey, you guys.
Of course, I have WrestleSite. Can't forget about WrestleSite.com.
WrestleSite, yes. WrestleSite's your other site. WrestleCommunity.com, though, guys, is like that a MySpace website too. Plus, one more cheap plug: if you want SmackDown spoilers right now, go to ProWrestlingScoops.com. They are the top news post. And then, if you want to go to like a little MySpace website, WrestleCommunity.com. Make sure you guys go and sign up for that because it's a cool script over there. And of course, you can check out the official website of WZR Radio at WZROnline.com. We're here every Tuesday night, 7 to 9 Eastern Time. WZROnline.com, loaded with news and rumors. Jose, buddy, it's been fun, and I will see you next Tuesday night, 7 to 9 Eastern Time. You got anything else, man?
Nope, it's a great pleasure, and I like these debates that we do. It actually gives two different individuals' point of view of pro wrestling, and I appreciate that everyone can take their 2 hours of their day to listen to us and call in and discuss, and definitely continue giving us that feedback. Positive or negative,
guys, yes.
It doesn't matter. We want to know.
Feedback, guys, please. I'm going to put the post out right now. It's webmaster@ProWrestlingScoops.com. Please email me, guys. Please, and I'll get back to you. The ECW video is rolling right now. There's Christian. We'll give him some time, guys. We'll give him some time. All right, guys. For Jose Rivera, this is Ryan Clark saying see you next Tuesday night, 7 to 9 Eastern Time, right here on WZROnline.com. A little bit off.
So long, everyone.